Okay, we can continue. So far we were discussing about the types of chemical reaction, and we have discussed two different type of chemical reaction. The first one was the combination reaction, in which two substances are reacting together to form a single compound, and next we have discussed about the decomposition reaction. Decomposition reactions when a single substance is splitting up into different substances. And now we are moving to the third type of chemical reaction, that is displacement reaction. So, in this chemical reaction, already you have studied in grade 8 about the reactivity of metals. So, the different metals are reacting with a different reactivity, and normally the teachers are explaining a single equation or a single sentence, easy to remember how the reactivity of metals are normally coming. So, normally we are using King, Nathan's cat married a zebra from Poland. He is cute, arrogant and awesome. So, this is the sentence normally we are using to recollect the reactivity of metals. King is K, that denotes for potassium. King Nathan, we are normally saying Na is for sodium. King Nathan's cat, Ca is for calcium. Married Mg, that is magnesium, and Al, married a zebra from Poland. He is cute, arrogant and awesome. That is a small tip normally we are using to remember the reactivity of the metals. So, this reactivity series you have to study, because otherwise you can't identify a displacement reaction. So, normally from the examination point of view, you may be given one chemical equation and you have to identify whether this reaction will take place or not. So, if you don't know what is the reactivity series and how the reactivity of different metals are varies, you can't answer that particular question. So, now the displacement reaction means when a highly reactive metal reacts with another metallic solution or salt solution, the highly reactive metal will displace the less reactive metal from the metallic solution. I will explain. So, for example, Al2 aluminum hydroxide I am writing, AlOH thrice. This is an example of, this is the formula of aluminum hydroxide. Aluminum hydroxide reacting with a calcium. Okay, this is the equation. So, calcium is reacting with the aluminum hydroxide. So, this is the part, second part, this anionic part. This anionic part will be taken by this calcium, and we are getting CaOH twice plus aluminum. That means from this reaction aluminum is displaced and calcium has taken this hydroxide part. So, when you are seeing the reactivity series, so this is actually the reactivity in the decreasing order. So, the highly reactive metal is potassium, then sodium. So, likewise reactivity decreases downwards. Whenever we are moving from top to the bottom, reactivity decreases. So, normally during a displacement reaction, only a highly reactive metal can displace. So, here when we are looking the position of calcium and aluminum in the reactivity series, the position of aluminum is below calcium. So, the position of one metal is below other metal means the metal which is below is having low reactivity. So, in the compound the element or the metal present is aluminum and the free metal is calcium, and here calcium is more reactive. So, it can displace aluminum from aluminum hydroxide. So, such type of chemical reactions are called a displacement reaction. Normally when questions are coming for the exam, so I will show you one example how the questions are normally asking for the exam. So, this is reaction A and this is reaction B. So, generally for an exam, two type of chemical reactions may be given and the questions may be asking, out of this which reaction will occur, why or why not? That is the question. So, whenever a question is coming like this, you have to think about the reactivity. Actually, even though you are studying displacement reaction in this chapter, it is actually connected with the third chapter in the same grade, that is metals and non-metals. In that chapter, you are normally dealing with the reactivity series. This is actually connection question. So, even the displacement reaction you are studying in the first lesson, the reactivity series comes in the third chapter. So, normally whenever the questions are asking in the exam, these 2 points are connected together and they are normally asking for the exam. So, here MgSO4 plus Cu gives CuSO4 plus Mg and CuSO4 plus Mg gives MgSO4 plus Cu. The question is, out of this which reaction will occur, why or why not? So, you have to think about the reactivity series. Look, here the copper is the free metal and magnesium is the in a compound form. Here Mg is the free metal and CuSO4, Cu is in the compound form. You have to think about the position of magnesium and copper in the reactivity series. So, the magnesium is here and copper is here. So, the metal which is down, that is less reactive, and metal which is on the top, that will be more reactive. A less reactive metal cannot displace a highly reactive metal. So, here copper is a free metal and this copper's position in the reactivity series is down. That means copper is less reactive. Comparing with copper and magnesium, magnesium is more reactive than copper. So, this copper cannot displace magnesium from magnesium sulfate. And when we are thinking about the CuSO4 and Mg, so the Mg's position is far above copper. So, that means when we are comparing the reactivity of copper and magnesium, magnesium is highly reactive metal. So, this reaction can occur and this reaction cannot occur. So, when the question comes, I told you there will be two equations and one equation A and equation B. Which reaction will carry out, why or why not? So, you have to write equation B is happening because in this a highly reactive magnesium is highly reactive metal. So, a highly reactive metal can displace a less reactive metal from its metallic solution. Here copper is less reactive than magnesium, so it cannot displace. So, likewise you have to answer. So, whenever you are studying displacement reaction, you have to keep in your memory that this question will be connected with the third chapter which is given in the metals and non-metals with the connection with the reactivity series, and normally likewise they are asking the question. Okay? And this is the third category of chemical reaction. Now, we will move to the fourth category, that is double displacement reaction. So, in displacement reaction, we already discussed about a free metal and a metal solution. Now, there will be a mutual displacement, mutual exchange of the anionic part. So, during a chemical reaction, there will be mutual exchange of this anionic part. Such reactions are called a double displacement reaction. For example, so barium chloride and sulfuric acid reacting together. So, here the anionic part is chlorine and here the anionic part is sulfate. So, there will be the interchanging of this anionic part, that sulfate will go to barium and chlorine will go to hydrogen. So, as a result what we are getting, BaSO4 plus 2 HCl. So, the anionic part exchanged mutually, and this type, that is why it is called a double displacement reaction. In displacement reaction, one of the compounds metallic solution displacing only one. Here there will be the mutual exchange of this anionic part, and that is why it is called a double displacement reaction. Here barium sulfate is a white precipitate formed during the double displacement reaction. So, BaCl2 plus H2SO4 gives BaSO4 plus 2HCl. So, it is a white precipitate, and normally during a decomposition reaction, a precipitate is forming during decomposition reaction, double decomposition reaction. Such reactions are called a precipitation reaction. So, whenever double decomposition reactions are carrying out, normally there will be the formation of a precipitate, and such type of reactions are called a precipitation reaction. Okay. So, in different precipitates are forming. So, if you are taking copper sulfate and hydrogen sulfide, normally we are getting a red precipitate, and copper sulfide as a black precipitate, and also normally we are lead nitrate and potassium iodide we are taking, we are getting an yellow precipitate. So, likewise whenever a double displacement reaction is carrying out, we are getting a precipitate, and if a precipitate is forming during a double displacement reaction, such reactions are called a precipitation reaction. Hello?
Hello?
Hello, നമുക്കൊരു call ഉണ്ട്, ശ്രദ്ധിക്കാം.
Hello, I'm Malvika.
Yeah.
I'm from Arts English High School, Dubai.
Yeah.
I wanted to know that when a reaction is given, how do we identify whether it is double displacement or displacement reaction?
Double displacement or displacement reaction?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, that's a nice question. So, no confusion about it. So, whenever you are given a two equation, suppose MgSO4 plus Cu, CuSO4 plus MgOr.
Okay.
So, here one is a free metal, the second one is not a compound. Okay. So, here we are getting MgSO4 plus Cu, but in the double displacement reaction both the reactants will be a compound. Okay. Look, BaCl2 plus H2SO4. This is also a compound and this is also a compound. So, double displacement reactions are carried out between two compounds only. Understood?
Yeah.
In a displacement reaction, one will be the free metal and the other one will be the compound. Okay. So, whenever there is two compounds are in the given reaction, we can identify that, and there will be exchange. So, this sulfate part will go to barium and this Cl part will go to hydrogen. So, there will be exchange, both sides there will be exchange, and from that reaction we can understand that the reaction is double decomposition. In double decomposition both the reactants will be compounds. Understood? But in a displacement reaction one will be the free metal and the other will be the compound. So, that is how we can understand whether the reaction is a displacement or double displacement. In double displacement we cannot see one free element, both will be the compounds. Understood?
So much.
Okay, okay. Thank you, Malavika.
Thank you.
Okay, bye. So, we can continue, and whenever we are seeing a double displacement reaction, I have told you we can see different kinds of formation of precipitate, and whenever there will be the formation of a precipitate during a double displacement reaction, so such reactions are called a precipitation reaction. Now, we will move to the next category. That is also one of the important part. Normally, the questions are normally asking for the exams. That is oxidation and reduction reaction. So, this part you have to study very thoroughly, because whenever you are going to the grade 11th also, this oxidation and reduction part is very much important, because there is one chapter called oxidation reduction reaction in grade 11. So, you have to get the concept of oxidation and reduction in terms of electrons and also in terms of oxygen and hydrogen. So, first I will explain what is oxidation. So, oxidation means addition of hydrogen to a substance, okay. Addition of oxygen. Addition of oxygen to a substance is called a oxidation reaction, or a removal of hydrogen. So, you can define oxidation reaction in both the ways. Addition of oxygen is also called a oxidation, and removal of hydrogen is also called a oxidation, but for the 10th grade it is not there, but removal of electrons from an element, that is also called a oxidation. If you are removing an electron from an element, that reaction is also called a oxidation reaction. So, but for the 10th grade we have to think about only addition of oxygen and removal of hydrogen. So, addition of oxygen is called oxidation reaction, and removal of hydrogen is also called a oxidation reaction, and reduction is just opposite. Addition of hydrogen or removal of oxygen. So, this is the definition, or this is what we are calling oxidation and reduction. Oxidation means addition of oxygen to a compound or a removal of hydrogen, and reduction is addition of hydrogen or a removal of oxygen. So, in a chemical reaction, normally both the reactions are carrying out in a same way. So, in a chemical reaction, when the reaction is carried out, oxidation and reduction in a single reaction, such reactions are called redox reaction. So, redox reactions are such reactions in which oxidations and reductions are taking place simultaneously. So, oxidation is addition of oxygen or removal of hydrogen, and reduction is addition of hydrogen or removal of oxygen. When oxidation and reduction reactions are carrying out in a same reaction, such reactions are called a redox reaction. And now we have to think about another factor, that is oxidizing agent and reducing agent. So, the substances which are normally helping for oxidation, they are called oxidizing agent. Oxidizing agent. So, as the term suggests, so substances which are helping for oxidation. So, which substance is helping for the process of oxidation, that substance is called a oxidizing agent, and which is helping for reduction, that is called a reducing agent. So, whenever we are thinking about the oxidation reduction reaction, we have to think about the redox reaction, oxidation, reduction, oxidizing agent and reducing agent. Oxidation means addition of oxygen or removal of hydrogen. Reduction means addition of hydrogen or removal of oxygen. When oxidation and reduction reactions are carrying out in a single reaction, such reactions are called redox reaction, and the substances which are helping for the oxidation, they are called oxidizing agent, and the substances which is helping for the reduction, they are called a reducing agent. Now, we will think about one example and then we will discuss what is oxidation and reduction reaction. So, this is one of the reaction, copper oxide reacting with hydrogen to form copper and water. So, we will discuss where oxidation happen, where reduction happen, and which is the oxidizing agent and which is the reducing agent. So, in copper oxide and hydrogen are the reactants. In the reacting side, this CuO, when it is moving to the product side, you can see that oxygen is removed. There is no oxygen in along with Cu. So, when hydrogen was in the reacting part or in the side of reactant, there is no oxygen. When it is moved to the other side of the arrow mark, that means when it has moved to the product side, along with hydrogen, what is added? Oxygen is added. So, from this reaction, we have to identify which substance is getting oxidized, which substance is getting reduced, and which is the oxidizing agent and which is the reducing agent. So, here CuO to Cu. So, from CuO, oxygen is removed. So, from CuO, oxygen has been removed and it became Cu. So, we have studied when oxygen is removed during a chemical reaction, such reactions are called a reduction. That means, copper oxide is getting reduced. That means, reduction has been taken place. Oxygen has been removed from CuO, and that is why we can say that copper oxide has been reduced or reduction has been taken place. Hydrogen to H2O, here along with hydrogen, oxygen has been added. So, addition of oxygen has been taken place. So, we can call it as oxidation reaction or hydrogen is getting oxidized. Understood? So, during a chemical reaction, if oxygen is added to a substance, such reactions are called oxidation reaction. And the substance which is undergoing oxidation reaction, normally we are saying that substance is getting oxidized. So, hydrogen is getting oxidized. So, the substance from which oxygen is removed, we are calling it as reduction reaction, and we are calling that substance is getting reduced. So, here CuO getting got reduced and hydrogen got oxidized. Okay. So, which substance is getting reduced? That substance is called a oxidizing agent. So, when we are calling in the term of agent, we are calling just opposite name. Reduction taking place, so we are calling it as oxidizing agent. If oxidation is taking place, we are calling it as reducing agent. So, here CuO is the oxidizing agent. Why it is called oxidizing agent? Because CuO has been given oxygen to hydrogen to get it oxidized. So, it is helping for oxidation, and that is why it is called a oxidizing agent. Normally, oxidizing agent is getting reduced because oxygen is removed from that particular substance. When oxygen is removing, that reaction is called a reduction. So, from CuO, oxygen removed. So, we are calling CuO is getting reduced or reduction has been taken place. But this CuO helping hydrogen to get oxidized. So, this is called a oxidizing agent. And here it is getting oxygen and it is called a oxidation reaction, and this is called a reducing agent. Because this water is helping CuO to get the oxygen, and oxygen is getting removed because of hydrogen. So, this is called normally we are writing oxidizing agent and reducing agent in the same side only. So, we are writing this as hydrogen as a reducing agent. So, CuO plus H2 gives CuO plus H2O. So, from this reaction we can say that from CuO, oxygen has been removed, so reduction taking place. So since the reduction is taking place, it is called oxidizing agent. And in H2O, addition of oxygen is taken place in hydrogen, so oxidation, so it is called a reducing agent. So these are the different kinds of reaction. So once again, we can just wind up by through a recap through all the types of chemical reaction. So in a chemical reaction, there will be two parts, reacting parts and the product part. Reacting parts are called the substance which are taking part in a chemical reaction, and the substance which are newly formed are called products. So there are some characteristics: formation of precipitate, change in color, change in state, evolution of gas. All these are some of the characteristics of a chemical reaction, and we have discussed different types of chemical reaction. First one was the combination reaction, and in which a single compound is formed by the combination of different two elements combining together, or two compounds combining together, or one element and a compound combining together to form a single substance, that is called a combination reaction. And the second one is a decomposition reaction. In decomposition reaction, so a single substance was there that is splitting up into two different compounds. It can be carried out with the help of heat, that is called a thermal decomposition, with electricity and also with the light. And third one was the displacement reaction, in which a free metal and a metallic solution will be there. A highly reactive metal is displacing the less reactive metal. And the fourth one, displacement reaction, can be with the change in the difference in the reactivity of the metals. And the other one was the double displacement reaction, so in which two compounds will be there and they are exchanging the ionic part, and that is why it is called a double displacement reaction. And the last one was oxidation reduction reaction. Or redox reaction. I hope all of you really enjoyed the topic and keep on watching, and thank you.